on UCentral News. President Donald Trump revealed his plan for reciprocal tariffs today. Amy Kiley has more. Valentine's Day is quickly approaching, but how will the weather be? Carly Torbett will have your full look at weather. And the Thunder just had a hot win. Dylan Hibbert has all of the details. And this billionaire is looking to buy OpenAI. Valerie Scout has all of your social media updates. All that and more happening right now on UCentral News.
Live from Central Oklahoma, this is UCentral News.
Good evening, I'm Jeremy Ramirez.
And I'm Abby Avers. Welcome to this edition of UCentral News.
President Donald Trump says today's the day he'll sign off on reciprocal tariffs. He says they could affect almost every country.
His administration says it has a plan to decrease inflation and says it wants to lower interest rates. Many economists worry tariffs could push the country in the opposite direction. Amy Kiley reports.
The world has taken advantage of the United States for many years.
President Donald Trump says he's formally unveiling reciprocal tariffs today. He wants the U.S. to effectively match the ones other nations impose on U.S. goods. The timing is notable. The CPI report out yesterday shows inflation rose 3% year over year last month. That's higher than expected and above the Federal Reserve's target. Many economists worry potential trade wars could amplify inflation even more.
Economists would say that tariffs are going to be inflationary.
Tariffs could be viewed as inflationary, especially if there are reciprocal tariffs.
Trump disagrees with that viewpoint. He also argues tariffs raise money, balance trade, and serve as leverage. His administration adds that he has a broader plan to curb inflation.
We're focusing on getting spending under control and having supply-side tax cuts and regulatory policies and drilling and so on, so that there's a lot of supply, reduced demand.
Meanwhile, Trump is butting heads with the Fed.
We're close but not there on inflation.
He argues it should cut interest rates. He says that would go hand in hand with his tariffs plan. Given the latest inflation numbers, many analysts don't believe that will happen when the Fed meets in March.
They want that number closer to 2.5, and it might take some time to get there.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
Abby, I can't believe the snow has already came and went.
Yeah, absolutely. But I believe we're supposed to have more winter weather next week. Let's go ahead and toss it over to Carly for our first look at weather.
Thank you, guys. Looking at those current conditions today, we've had a little bit of a change today, opposed from all the snow and the cloudy weather. We did see a little bit of sunshine today. We are still super cold outside, so at 32 degrees, still feels like 32 outside though, so nothing's making it feel colder or warmer than what it is right now. Those winds are coming in from the east at about 5 miles per hour, and those gusts are at about 7 miles per hour. Looking at that allergy index, nothing too crazy going on right now. Our tree and grass pollen are both at a moderate level right now. So if we are feeling a little bit of those allergies, these are the two guys that we got to thank right now, but nothing too crazy. And then looking ahead, Valentine's Day is going to be super windy, and we are going to have a little bit of that light rain and drizzle that we were feeling at the beginning of the week. Most likely going to move on into Valentine's Day, but those wind gusts are going to get up to 20 to 35 miles per hour, and then we are expecting another winter storm to move in on Tuesday, and I will have more on that later on in the show. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you, Carly. Tensions are high between Governor Kevin Stitt and Superintendent Ryan Walters following the governor's weekly press briefing yesterday. In response to Walters' deportation policies in schools, Governor Stitt stated he didn't want the children to become the targets of Oklahoma immigration policies.
When I talk to law enforcement, collecting data on kids and using them as political pawns is not something that helps law enforcement. In Oklahoma, our Constitution says we're going to educate all kids. And I want to make sure that every kid feels safe and is being educated in the state of Oklahoma.
This also comes after the governor's decision to replace 3 members of the Oklahoma State Board of Education. Ryan Walters posted to X stating the governor has joined the, quote, swampy political establishment. He also states that Stitt is undermining the America First agenda, a political plan backed by President Donald Trump.
We have an update on a deadly shooting in Oklahoma City. A second victim has now died from injuries sustained in the incident. 17-year-old Raymundo Fernandez, who was hospitalized after the shooting, has passed away. His death marks Oklahoma City's 7th homicide of the year. Police say Monday night in an elementary school parking lot, a dispute escalated into a gunfight, leaving 3 people wounded. The victims arrived at Integra Southwest Medical Center in 2 separate vehicles, where one person was pronounced dead upon arrival. Authorities have arrested 16-year-old Joel Delgado, who is now booked into the Oklahoma County Detention Center on a second-degree murder charge.
Edmond police are investigating a car crash near Arcadia Lake. A wrecked vehicle was found just north of the swim beach, and when police responded, they found the body of 89-year-old Catherine Nix lying just outside the vehicle. The victim was the subject of a silver alert sent out this past Sunday by the Oklahoma Highway Patrol. Police say the cause of the crash is still under investigation.
The results are in for who's running in the next election for Edmond mayor. 4 candidates faced off on Tuesday in the voting. Mark Nash and Tom Robbins had the top 2 votes. Nash won roughly 34.8% of the vote, and Robbins, not far behind, had 34.2% of the vote. Both Nash and Robbins will proceed to the runoff election in April.
We have another winter storm heading our way. When is it going to be here, and how long is it going to last?
Carly Torbett will have your full look at weather when we come back.
The University of Central Oklahoma grows and thrives. We move to meet our students where they are and get them where they want to go. Over time, thousands of students have made the move to UCO. They come to pursue their passions and find their calling, to improve their lives, families, and communities. UCO moves and motivates students in and out of the classroom. Here, potential takes flight. Our students' curiosity ignites a spark that fuels transformation. Oklahoma's Metropolitan University, the university that hasn't stopped moving since 1890. In fact, we are gaining momentum. This is where movement is. This is the University of Central Oklahoma.
Multiple studies have shown that marijuana can slow both driver reaction and response time, which can be really dangerous. He's here. He's here. Wait. What? I can't drive. Why? I'm high. Oh.
Good afternoon, Broncos, and welcome back to UCentral. Looking at today's current conditions, we did see a little bit of sun today, opposed from all the clouds and the snow we just saw over the last couple days. It's 32 degrees outside, still feels like 32 degrees outside. Winds coming in from the east at about 5 miles per hour with those gusts at 7 miles per hour. Looking at those current conditions across the state, the whole state is very, very cold today, but everybody got to see a little bit of sunshine, so it was a nice little change. OKC Metro at 32 degrees outside. Enid, Ponca City, both at 29. Miami with 28. And Guyman up in the Panhandle, you are a hotspot today with 41 degrees. Going into tonight, we are going to see that temperature drop, and we are going to be at a whopping 21 degrees outside. Those clouds are going to move in, though, so there is going to be a bit of an overcast. Winds are going to shift to come from the southeast at about 10 miles per hour. Humidity is going to bump up to about 66%, and we do have that 1% chance of rain, but it's most likely just going to be a little drizzle. Nothing too crazy if we do see that 1% chance of rain. And then tonight across the state, as you can see, everybody's temperatures are going to severely drop. OKC Metro 22 degrees, Altus 23. Miami up there with 19 degrees, and Enid, you are going to be at 17 degrees tonight, so very, very cold. And then going into tomorrow, we're going to see the temperature shift a little bit, so they are going to bump up, but we might see a little bit of drizzle in that overcast. 49 degrees for OKC Metro, 49 for Enid. Guyman up in the Panhandle, you are going to be at 68 degrees, so not too bad for the past weather that we've been having in Ponca City with 48 degrees. And then going into this next week, Tuesday and Wednesday is when we are expecting this next winter storm to roll through. Up in the northern part of the state, that is where we're going to see most of the snow accumulate. We can expect to see 1 to 3 inches of snow, but as you get more into the southern part of the state, Lawton, Altus, McAllister, you are going to be seeing more of a sleet, freezing rain, a little bit of an ice mix, and then more in the northern part, more of the southern part, kind of towards Idabel. That's where you're just going to see that freezing rain. And then going into our 7-day forecast, tomorrow's Valentine's Day, going to be at 50 degrees outside. Going to be very, very windy though. We're going to be looking at 25 to 35 mile an hour wind gusts. Same thing for Saturday. Might see a little bit of an overcast. And then going into next week, like I said, we are expecting that winter storm to come in on Tuesday, 60% chance. Could see 1 to 3 inches of snow. Hey, might even see another snow day, might be out of school. We'll just have to wait and see. And then Wednesday, 19 degrees, so very, very cold. And then Thursday, 27, bumping up from that 19 just a little bit. Jeremy, Abby, have you guys been able to stay warm through all this winter weather we're having?
Yeah, absolutely. I did not get out at all yesterday. Carly, how about you?
I personally enjoyed having the snow day, but I've said it before, snow, ice, it can be very dangerous on the road, so I hope everybody stayed in on that snow day. Jeremy, how about you?
Carly, I'm pretty fortunate. I have a big fluffy kitty that doubles as a very nice personal heated blanket. But yes, thank you, Carly. Coming up, next, Valerie Scott has our social media news with A$AP Rocky's legal battles.
And a new documentary featuring a popular 70s band. Stay with us.
Rugged, rough, built for the road ahead. Sometimes I feel like a shell of a man.
Commercials are fake. What you're feeling isn't. Call or text 988, Oklahoma's mental health lifeline.
Emma, did you hear?
Todd's in the hospital.
Who's Todd? He got a collapsed lung from vaping. He thought it was cool.
Not cool.
Promise you won't vape, Emma. It can lead to a lifelong addiction, and we can't be friends if your lungs collapse.
Bogus.
Wacky sitcom teens aren't the best people to talk to your kid about vaping.
Hey, you got a minute?
You are. Start the conversation with your child about vaping today.
The University of Central Oklahoma grows and thrives. We move forward, daily living the Bronco way, being reflective of our neighborhood, community, history, and Oklahoma. This is what has made us who we are. Oklahoma's Metropolitan University, the third largest university in Oklahoma. This is where movement is. This is the University of Central Oklahoma.
Good evening, Broncos. I'm Valerie Scott, and I have your social media news for tonight. OpenAI, the maker of ChatGPT, is arguably the most valuable AI company worldwide. The company currently operates as a nonprofit. Monday, Elon Musk announced that his group of investors are offering more than $97 billion to buy OpenAI. However, there is a catch. Musk will retract his offer if the company continues as a nonprofit. OpenAI CEO Sam Altman quickly criticized the offer. On Wednesday, the company filed court documents questioning Musk's reasoning for the bid. However, the company hasn't officially rejected the offer yet. This is an ongoing power struggle between Musk and Altman, who are both wanting to control the future of artificial intelligence. Musk, the co-founder of OpenAI, left the company years ago. Musk says he will drop his nearly $100 billion attempt to buy OpenAI if it maintains a nonprofit structure. ASAP's Rocky is coming to a close, and the arguments are sharp. Prosecutors say he fired 2 shots at former friend ASAP Rocky during a 2021 confrontation. Defense lawyers claim he only fired blanks from a fake gun. The trial is centered on 2 felony counts of assault with a semi-automatic firearm, and if convicted, Rocky could face up to 24 years in prison. The case rests on the credibility of Relly, who claims Rocky did indeed fire at him. Deputy District Attorney John Lewis called the prop gun argument garbage. The testimony ended Tuesday with Rocky choosing not to take the stand. Closing arguments will be made soon, and a decision could be made as early as next week. Post Malone is known for his generosity, and a new story proves just that. While visiting the Howling Wolf in New Orleans, he gave his waitress a huge $2,000 tip. Unfortunately, the payment system Square refused to give her the full amount, saying the tip was too high. They only allowed her to keep $200 of the original tip. The waitress, Heather Foster, shared her frustration on Facebook, and the story quickly spread online. Thanks to outpouring support from the community, service members, and even Post Malone's fans, Square eventually agreed to pay her the full $2,000. Heather expressed her gratitude, thanking everyone who helped her, and this is a perfect example of the power of social media. The legendary Led Zeppelin is in the spotlight again with a new documentary. Becoming Led Zeppelin will be in theaters tomorrow on Valentine's Day. This film explores the band's origin, including new interviews with surviving members, plus rare footage featuring the late drummer John Bonham. The film reveals never-before-heard conversations, including a lost interview with Bonham from the early 70s. The documentary debuted with a strong $2.6 million at the box office last week and promised to be a must-see for fans. Becoming Led Zeppelin is rated PG for some drug references and smoking. Valentine's Day is here and love is in the air, but beware. Law enforcement warns that romance scams spike around this time of year. Online dating is popular, but it also is where fake profiles and scammers lurk. They gain your trust, then manipulate you into sending money. Nearly 65,000 people reported romance scams in 2023, with losses hitting $1.14 billion. To protect yourself, watch out if they want to move off the dating app or refuse to meet in person. The FBI warns these crimes can be hard to catch, as some scammers operate overseas. If you've got an online Valentine's Day, make sure you aren't being scammed into a fake profile. Jeremy, do you have any Valentine's plans of your own?
Valerie, I do, but mine unfortunately are just a little bit postponed until Monday. I actually have to work that evening, sadly. What about you?
I know I've got a nice steak dinner planned. Abby, do you got any plans?
I plan on having a Galentine's party with my roommates. Thank you, Valerie. Coming up, the Raising Cane's Festival is back in Edmond. Find out who UCO softball will face.
And the Oklahoma City Thunder were down big last night, but did they make a comeback? Find out when we return.
The University of Central Oklahoma grows and thrives. We move forward, daily living the Bronco way, being reflective of our neighborhood, community, history, and Oklahoma. This is what has made us who we are. Oklahoma's Metropolitan University, the 3rd largest university in Oklahoma. This is where movement is. This is the University of Central Oklahoma.
Everyone has a ritual. That small thing to keep us focused. A habit we never skip. To clear our minds and elevate our performance. But what do you do to keep your head in the game? To drown out the self-doubt and support your mental health? Maybe you surround yourself with positivity. Or you need to center yourself. Because being your best isn't just about taking care of your body. It's about taking care of your mind and mental health. Discover the resources you need to keep your mind focused and your mental health a priority.
Hello everyone and welcome to your daily sports update. I'm Dylan Hibbard. UCO baseball has a big weekend set starting tomorrow as they host the Colorado Christian Cougars. The first of 3 games starts on Valentine's Day with a doubleheader at 1 p.m. and 3 p.m. The Broncos look to stay hot after sweeping the Henderson State Invitational last weekend. The Broncos will close out the series on Saturday at 10 a.m. All games are here at UCO campus at Wendell Simmons Field. Now to the ladies on the diamond. The Broncos softball team is off to an amazing start with a 7-1 record on the early season after going 3-1 at the UCO OC Classic last weekend. The Raising Cane's Festival is back in Edmond as UCO hosts a bunch of teams across the surrounding states, and it starts tomorrow afternoon when they host Arkansas Tech at 1:15 p.m. Right after the Arkansas Tech game, the Broncos will host Southwestern Oklahoma State at 5:45 p.m. To wrap up the weekend, the Broncos will host Rockhurst at 12:45 p.m. on Monday to end the festival. All games are at Gary Pinkston Stadium. Now to the wrestling mat, as the top 5 ranked UCO wrestling team is coming off an intense win against Nebraska Kearney last weekend with a 19-12 victory. The Broncos now shift their focus to Central Missouri as they will travel to Warrensburg, Missouri to have their final MIAA duel of the year. Starting time is scheduled for 2 p.m. on Saturday. And finally, to wrap up the wrestling regular season, the Chos will host New Mexico Highlands here at Hamilton Fieldhouse on Sunday with a start time scheduled for 2 p.m. Now to the court, as UCO basketball for both men and women are getting into the final weeks of regular season with a lot of things still to find out in standings and playoff seedings. First, the women's basketball team has struggled throughout the season, but is still looked to finish on a high note as they will travel to face off against the Rogers State Hillcats. Tip-off is scheduled for 1:30 p.m. in Claremore, Oklahoma. The men's basketball team only has one game this weekend as well when they will travel to Claremore to face off against Rogers State Hillcats. Tip-off is scheduled for 3:30 p.m. And now for the top seed, Oklahoma City Thunder. OKC had a back-to-back to end the first half before the All-Star break starts up tomorrow. Last night, the Thunder hosted a new-look Miami team without Jimmy Butler, and most people thought this would be an easy win, but there are no easy wins in the NBA as Miami had a 10-point lead going into the fourth quarter, then lightning struck. OKC then would go into the fourth quarter on a 24-01 run that would lead to the 115-101 win. The Thunder held the Heat to just 8 points, yes, 8 points in the fourth quarter to close it out. OKC will look to stay under 10 losses one more time as they will travel to Minnesota tonight. The 44-9 Thunder will take their best record in the league to Minnesota, who are 35-20 tonight, to face off against Anthony Edwards and company. Chet Holmgren will play in this game, and Alex Caruso is expected to miss the game. Tip-off is scheduled for 7:30 p.m. on TNT, True TV, and Max. Jeremy, Abby, have you guys been able to get out to any of those games and out in the cold weather?
I unfortunately have not.
I have. They've been pretty good. Yeah, I've been pretty excited. They've been great. Yeah. How about you, Dylan?
Yeah, I've been out to a couple of the basketball and baseball games, just some really good sports and athletes going around. It's a great time to be a Bronco.
Yes, agreed. Thank you, Dylan.
Thank you, Dylan. The cost of love varies from person to person, but what is the cost of Valentine's Day this year?
And Carly Torbett will have your last look at weather after the break.
I'm an ex-drug dealer, and I'll be your sub today. Two milligrams of fentanyl can be lethal. A lethal dose is in here. Who gets it, I won't know.
It's cheap, it's potent, and it's profitable. The sad reality is, fentanyl is being mixed into everything now.
More kitchen now.
Expanding horizons, making room for the new. The modern frontier is ready for you. There's more to discover, more fun to be found. Our city is rising, just look around. Attractions, adventures, excitement and thrills, rooms of beauty and history where knowledge is filled. A convergence of cultures in spectacular places, open skies, open minds, and wide open spaces. The modern frontier awaits you to embrace it.
Another Valentine's Day, another dollar, but just how many of them will it cost you? This year, just about everything is more expensive. Brian Abel reports on what may be a bit more pricey for your last-minute V-Day gifts.
If finding the right person to share Valentine's Day with wasn't tough enough.
Dating always comes with its challenges, but there's no question that in the last few years, it's just gotten more and more expensive financially.
This year, according to LendingTree, Americans in relationships plan on spending an average of nearly $200 on the big day, though it may not go as far.
There's no question that inflation's gonna make Valentine's Day more expensive this year.
And two of the most traditional gifts for a Valentine are not immune.
We looked at chocolates, which are about 8% more expensive than they were last year.
That's the average. While price increases varied, some sweet treats jumped by 35%. So Schultz says it's important to shop around and maybe find this as a silver lining.
The price of producing chocolate has gone up more than the price that consumers have been paying for chocolate. So there's a little bit of a good news thing there for consumers that it's not necessarily as bad as it could have been.
And if you want to gift a little glitz this year, get ready to pay more.
Jewelry, which is about 4 or 5% more expensive.
A reminder, while inflation may make gift giving more expensive, love, as the saying goes, doesn't cost a thing. In Washington, Brian Abel reporting.
And now we're going to send it over to Carly for our last look at weather.
Thank you, Jeremy. Speaking of Valentine's Day, looking at our Valentine's date night forecast, tomorrow, like I said, it's going to be very, very windy. That sunset is going to hit about 6:10. So if you want to plan like a nice romantic evening at sunset, here's the time to do it right here in Edmond. At 6 o'clock, going to be about 47 degrees. 7 o'clock, still windy, bump down to 45. 8 o'clock, still windy, 44 degrees. And then as for our hourly forecast for this evening, we're about to hit that 5 o'clock mark. Still a little bit sunshine outside, 32 degrees. 6 o'clock, sunset's going to hit about 6:09. Still gonna be very, very cold outside with that 27 degrees outside. And then we're gonna hit 7 o'clock. That cloudy overcast is gonna head our way. Gonna be about 25 degrees outside. And we're still gonna see that overcast, and it's gonna be very, very chilly tonight. That is all I have for you. Happy Valentine's Day, and back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you, Carly. Astronomers peering into the distant universe have discovered a massive celestial object they say is the largest of its kind. They're called radiojets, produced by quasars that expel jets of energetic matter. These faraway colossal radiojets were released not long after the Big Bang and have been hard to find until now. This one is twice the width of our Milky Way galaxy and at least 12 billion years old.
And that's all the time we have for tonight. I'm Abby Avers.
And I'm Jeremy Ramirez. Have a good night.